can see some of those, but kind of corresponds to that. Today's conversation is going to correspond to that quote. Hopefully you guys can all see it, that we are all of influence. But over the last couple weeks, we've had, when I say we, I'm using the royal we. I have had some interesting conversations with colleagues, and this is going to be a sensitive subject I think for many people, because of just the amount of emotion that many people have about what they've used, or what's created an income stream for them, or what business they've had that has created some semblance of financial freedom. And so today we are going to talk about I'm killing my chalk. I killed my chalk. Let me see. Sanj, you sound a lot better on mute, dude. Okay. So we're going to talk about that term and why they're on two different sides. So I think and I've actually had this conversation with some people, some really influential people actually over the last 2 weeks, because the word is starting to spread a little bit. And people that are outside of this industry don't like it, right? It has a negative connotation for many because many people have had a bad experience. And I'm not against this industry. That's why we created that, to get rid of that, because there's the concept of what direct sales or multi-level marketing or network marketing was built upon 50 years ago or so. Oh, hopefully you don't shut off my internet.
I'm not trying to shut off anybody.
We're having internet issues today. So here, you want to see how my office looks when things get worked on? I have people hanging from the ceiling. So we have Jen hanging from the ceiling, making sure the routers are working.
Okay.
The little things that go on behind the scenes that no one knows. But
okay, it's a Netgear.
So now you know it's Netgear. All right. That's the old one. So there's a concept that the network marketing industry was built upon. And that is really the premise of what's above it, that we are all of influence, right? And that each of us has the ability to create value. And in creating value for companies, you should be rewarded. I think we can all agree upon that. We love to share as humans. That's what we do. That's how we build community, right? The Romans had an idea to start building some stone buildings, and then people started to congregate. They might have conquered a few people and just forced them to come hang out with them. But they built a community and created a system of consumption, right? And in many cultures in the past, we know the money flows up to the top. And that could be seen in many different aspects. Nicholas read a lot of tarot cards on where the money flows or used to flow. And I'm going to mute a couple more here. So the concept of being able to be rewarded for the value that you create is not new. There's the purity in that approach. The problem has been this industry has been bastardized over the last 30 years, that it's turned from the concept of being able to create a benefit for someone who can create a cascade of consumption into money games and a process that is really designed to benefit those that own the company. And this is going to lead me to the first part of my conversation as what happens in this industry. I'm going to do a podcast on this, but we're going to talk about it today. And then we're going to talk about why this is unique. So if you probably can't see this, but this is a permanent injunction and monetary judgment and stipulated order from the United States District Court in Texas. This was published in October of 2019. There's a couple things that are significant for this. This was the FTC doing their first takedown of an MLM company, which was Advocare. And I think if you're in Europe or if you're outside the United States, you've never heard of the company before, because I don't think they ever really went outside of the United States much. But they were doing about $400, $500, $600 million a year in business. And they were fined over $150 million and banned from doing network marketing ever again. And the owners, or actually not the owner, the top income earners, the master distributors in the company, were also fined $4 million and banned from doing network marketing. The question is why? And what the data showed is that the business model is not predicated on consumption. It's not predicated on customers. It's predicated on people having to enroll, many times buy a pack, be required to buy products in order to get paid. That, my friends, is a Ponzi scheme. No matter how you look at it, no matter how long it goes, that's the problem. So for the last couple of years, it's been known that this industry has a target on its back because the regulators, the FTC in the United States, figured out the pathway to take these companies down. But what's interesting is over the last almost 2 years, there's not been any action taken. So there was one event that actually saved a $500 billion plus industry in the United States. You know what's really interesting? What that event was? It's what everybody talks about, freaking COVID. Because the roadmap was finalized in October of 2019. Now, what do we know happened a few months later? COVID, global lockdown, government organizations furloughed. So the takedown of this industry was put on hold because of the event that everyone else fears. But what was crazy is the industry exploded in the first 6 months because people were left to be at home. They're wary about their income. There was a ton of additional revenue that was pumped into the MLM industry. Why? Was it due to people maybe looking to get healthy to protect their immune systems? Because, well, if you're making good decisions about your household, you might want to do that. The largest part of the direct sales industry, the MLM industry, is wellness. I won't get into that conversation because we know most of this stuff doesn't have the outcomes that are expected. But the entire industry was saved because of a global pandemic. Now, the question is, with all of that increase in revenue, all of these people were joining these new companies because reps were, pushing, joining this company because it's a great way to earn money from home. And I was talking to consultants at the time last year, And they said, look, this is what's going to happen over the next 60 days. The industry is going to have a major boost in income, and then it's going to drop because all those people that bought packs can't recruit anybody. They're not going to make any money, and then they're all going to quit. And that's what happened. Because the statistics show that in this industry, 9 out of 10 people fail. The average person in an MLM company recruits 1.87 people. Can't even get 2. So 9 out of 10 people never get more than 2. And of that 1 out of 10, less than 15% of that 10%, so 1.5%, will actually get more than 5 people to join that. This is the problem. And then when you look at the business world today in multi-level marketing, there's an interesting trend going on because the biggest companies are growing only through acquisition. Rx, Jeunesse, Plexus, Longevity, these are some of the larger companies in the industry. They're not growing because they're adding more customers or they're adding more organic volume. They're only growing because they're absorbing smaller, failing other companies in the industry. You know what that tells you? It's dying. It's on life support. So if you know that, move over here, so we'll block it out. It'll be a little different. Actually, what we're going to do is, I think I'm sitting on it. Hold on, I got to find it. I'm going to do what the FTC is going to do. We'll just wipe it out. That way I have space for new stuff. So when someone asks you, is this that? The answer is absolutely not. What it is the 2 other models that it was built upon. Building and developing Root, I'll take responsibility for it. It was my doing. Lord, I apologize. Sorry. We looked at Amazon. Do you know who built Amazon? Or Alibaba? We did. All of us. Because when Jeff Bezos started selling books out of his now ex-wife's parents' garage, people got on the website, created a free account. They liked the opportunity to buy books at a place other than Barnes & Noble at a discount, have it sent directly to their home. They started telling some of their friends. What happened? Sharing. My mom did it. My grandmother did it. They were some of the first customers of Amazon. Do you know how much money my mom was rewarded? My grandmother was rewarded for sharing with other consumers for the purchases that they made, and the revenue that was generated from those people having a good experience and sharing with their friends, who shared 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 with their friends and their friends. And eventually you have one of the largest companies, well, the largest distribution company in the world that was built on our referral. And only through that was the capital able to be raised to expand, to provide more services, more products, more infrastructure. So now today, you can place an order and get a product within a few hours. People look at Amazon as it is today and go, oh, well, you know, it's Amazon. Great. You have to understand the power of the concept of sharing. So we look at the second model, which is why we're all here. Social media. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, Google, YouTube. I'm probably missing a couple. Line, Vine, probably missing some in other countries. Some of the most valuable companies on the United States stock market, on the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ, $1.5 trillion market valuations, provide no services. They aggregate the information of people that have formed community through social media. So once again, if you look at the value of Google, you look at the value of Facebook and what they own, what they've acquired, what they continue to acquire, how are they built? They were built on people creating a free account, sharing with their friends, creating a community. And then what do these groups do? It's why we have the Facebook groups. It's why we have the YouTube channel. They aggregate your information. Do you know what they do? They take the aggregation of all of that search data, all of that activity, all of your posts, all of your behavior, collectively, all of us, billions of people, run that through continual complex algorithms, come up with your consumption information. They know exactly what you want, when you're going to need it, what your cycles are in every aspect. Now, for ladies, your cycle might be changing if you're next to someone who's been vaccinated. Oh, isn't that another conversation to be had on why you might want clean slate and a lot of it? Everybody that's taken a few drops, you're going to soon understand why 5 to 10 is recommended, because chaos is coming, baby. But when I've got friends here locally going, why have I been bleeding for the last 2 weeks? And why are my friends that have not been jabbed and their friends that are around them are the ones getting my friends sick? Here we go. It's when things start to get exciting. But it's what we do. They're messing with my internet. But to those who create the value. If you're not a shareholder, it all goes, you get nada. Because companies, if you have goods or services, the traditional approach, Sanj, I love those blue blockers on you. The traditional approach is to go to those companies, come up with what your marketing budget is. You guys have met Ted. He owned Kalo. I wear the brand for my rings. He was spending $1 million a month in Facebook advertising to generate sales. You know, the crazy part is Facebook would change the advertising algorithms and wipe out their campaigns, and then they'd have to redo it and spend more money in the same month to make up for the changes that were done, because they control every aspect of it. But you know what they don't control? The ones who create the content, the ones who create the consumer decisions, the ones who created the value in the first place. And this is why this was created. Root was formed from looking at all three markets, taking the concept of what Amazon developed, understanding how consumerism is done today. Social, right? Instagram sells more products through its platform than every other part of the internet, except Amazon. And now you have like Snapchat and some of these other platforms that, wait for it, are all owned by Facebook or Google, that are looking at their revenue data from advertising. So companies are spending millions and billions of dollars to these aggregators to have us buy from those companies. So as we've learned in buying vehicles and doing other consumer things, why not cut out the middleman? If we're the ones who create the value, if we are the ones who have the relationships, if we are the ones of influence, why do you need to pay for advertising when the platforms are already developed? So what we did was create a platform that allows us to share and be rewarded for it. So you're able to create your community. You have your friends, your family, the people that you're of influence to that are able to consume the products that you like and that might benefit you. I can say that with a little bit of a giggle because boy, do we know the Trinity works. Right? So you have products that provide benefits to others, because the problem with the industry that got erased is the majority of the products in that industry, I'll say it, are actually worthless in their value proposition. They're sold on, I have to find a little more chalk. I'm getting through some of my chalk. They're sold on a premise of that. Oh, if you buy these and you sell these to your friends, you can make money. Not, hey, I found something that is absolutely phenomenal. It's making me function at a level I've never imagined, or it's taking care of the cause of the problem. I'm going to post a video on our YouTube channel here later today. That's 8 minutes that I did on Friday, just from a question and drawn on the blackboard, that will help everyone. Just simple, unless they don't speak English, and it won't help you any. You'll have to translate it. But it'll help you tremendously in outlining why the Trinity is valuable and what makes it important. It'll turn you into a wellness guru in 8 minutes. It's actually really, really good. And I don't ever watch the things I say or watch videos I do because I can't stand to hear myself talk. I mean, I don't know how you guys end up listening to me either. Maybe it's my hair now or my bright shirt. I don't know. And the shoes match the shirt. So no judgment. But outlining what we did makes things really simple. And that's really the key. Because if you have products that benefit you, you're going to tell others. And then the beauty of what we've done with Root, and this is what I was explaining to some friends I had, well, new friends, because one of our, Christina and my close friend, she's my hydrotherapist, has some really unique clients. And one of her friends played in the NFL for many, like 14 years. And his wife is really big into wellness, as is he, which is why his career was so long. And she loves Clean Slate and Zero In, wants to chat this week about how we collaborate. And when she went to create an account, she sent a message really quickly. Oh, well, I'm signing up for an MLM because I have to create an account. She's like, I won't touch an MLM. I'm like, no, you're actually joining Amazon with a rewards plan. You know what she said? Oh, that makes sense. Because with Amazon, you create a free account. And then you can shop. The only difference is we reward you for building the community and creating a community of consumption. Here's the key, though. Longevity of income, longevity of revenue is predicated on service and outcomes, right? You can't hype it. You can't, my incense blew out. You can't blow smoke, right? Because eventually consumers will just stop buying because there's no value proposition. That's the problem in the MLM industry, is they sell only on that. And that is why the FTC is going to go, no more. It's coming. So you can't hype it. So what that means is through sharing, social sharing, we all want things to go viral, right? You know, oh, I want 1 million people to view my video and everything. And there's something to that. Most stuff doesn't, though. So you have to create content. And then the consumption is something that builds over time. And you want it to be repetitive because you want people to have a good experience. You want them to buy again and again and again and again. You want them to tell their friends. So that consumption increases. This is how you create a valuable business, consumer business. You can be as an ambassador, as an affiliate, or as a company. Because artificially spiking numbers by having people spend a lot of money up front fabricates numbers. It looks good early, doesn't maintain over the long term. There's a term in the network marketing industry and multi-level marketing that explains this. It's called the pop and drop, where companies will run for 5 years. They'll get up to usually about $50 to $60 million a year in revenue, and then they'll drop because all the people bought packs and then they're not buying anymore. And we know the statistics. But if you just have really good consumer products, right, that work and that create benefits, it's slower, right? You don't see this pop, but sometimes things start to accelerate over time because the more people you have consuming, the more people are talking, and the quicker things start to accelerate. That's organic growth. That's what this is all about. It's a real, legitimate consumption base that's designed to be here for a long time. But it's also designed to wipe out what used to be over there, because the people that are over here that were there are going to have two choices here shortly. Go get another job or adjust. Granted, root's the first, and I'll argue the best because no one's going to create better products than what we have, because we're not just creating products. You guys have been around Christina enough, you know she's a little bit different. It's not just what's on the label. right? So it's a matter of understanding where we sit, how things are, and what they're doing, right? You have the products, you have a business model that's predicated on what is most current today. Internet consumption, social media, social sharing, direct to consumer sales, but also the benefit of the concept that that industry was based upon. That if you create value, because we are all of influence, right? Some of us might have influence over 2, 3, 4, 5 people that we're close to. Some of us might have influence over hundreds of thousands of people. Whether or not that is legitimate influence is something that is determined based on consumption, not based on analytics, not based on hype, not based on buying views or buying followers. It's based on a term that we use often, right? Based on the outcomes. Because if you produce outcomes, you're actually creating value. And through the production of outcomes, whether it's in your health, whether it's in business, whether it's in sports, whether it's in medicine, if you're producing outcomes, you're providing value, which means that you're probably going to receive income. No, Kathy Joe, I sound like a robot because I'm talking that way. I'm looking at. So, questions? That's all I got for today. You guys can unmute if you got comments. Here's what we need. It's funny that you made the comment that we need more crazy videos of putting Restore on people's faces. That's facts. Is it not great? Here, I'm going to unmute you.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay. Yeah, that's funny because
your face looks like it's glowing a little bit today. So tell me, it's been a couple days. You've been doing your facials.
Yes.
Right?
I use it for 4 days, and I use it also for 4 days on my face. But for the
and one hand.
And my hands, yes, you can see the difference. Maybe, I hope. It's better, softer. And for the ladies, if you put it on your face, know that we have nails, and our nails, the kurkuma, they get also orange. So put something on your hands, because otherwise you're like an idiot on street.
Well, actually, what you need to do is after you do your facial, you have to lick your fingers.
Yeah, that
solves the problem.
Yeah.
Really easy. I did this when I put Restore on Christina's feet the first night we did facials and everything. She's like, my toes hurt. I'm like, okay. And then I did that, and I immediately started licking my fingers because it tastes so good. And then I paused for a moment. I'm like, that was awkward. But it's good stuff.
I just got somebody who asked me, what is that sauce you put on your face? 5 minutes ago.
Hey, I will tell you, we've got some really influential friends here that spend a lot of money on skincare, and one of them makes a lot of money, like $2.5–3 million a year, selling skincare. and Restore's better than what she sells.
Oh.
And she's using it.
I have a question about Restore.
Right.
Go ahead. So I have a question about Restore, and that is just trying to figure out how to talk about it with people. So when I take a whole packet, it is like a light dose of ecstasy. It's euphoric and tingly and libido increasing, and just it's almost like a party favor. And I've actually been selling it a little bit to my friends by saying, hey, maybe $4 a packet sounds expensive for a supplement, but it's really cheap for a cocktail or a party favor. And I don't know how to explain.
You just did
doing that. Yeah, but like how the people want, you look at the ingredient list, and I've researched each ingredient and I can't figure out what it is that is so amazing. And I know it's because Christina is a miracle worker in the formulation that she's creating, but how can I explain to people this magic formula of what's in it that's
Michaela made a good point. It's not, and this is the point I was making before, it's not what's in it. Well, actually, hold on. Let me make sure that I explain this properly. One, the secret's on actually the back of the sachet.
Right, the love.
If you guys haven't read it. Yeah, it says it's from our heart to your hands. That's facts. But what she's done, and guys, don't explain all this. I'll explain it to you so you have the understanding. Because the term nanotechnology is something that is so overblown and so much crap. You actually have to have a background and doctoral level education in nanotechnology and bioscience engineering to actually do true nanotechnology. And seeing as I was fortunate enough to sit through a bunch of those classes, because my wife has a postdoctoral diploma from Harvard in nanotechnology and bioscience engineering. She created the initial concept for Restore about 4 or 5 years ago. But it was only after she finished at Harvard that she realized in what she learned in that nanotechnology, bioscience engineering 3-year program. And granted, the people that were in her class were other PhDs, colonels in the military that were that were told to go learn more about nanotechnology and design, and major research scientists, biopharma and pharma people like her. And they were wicked smart. I'm muting you, Nancy. So what makes Restore so special? One, it's from here for her, right? And it is the first one of the group that is all her. So everything in that comes from here. Or make sure that I'm doing my placement properly because your heart's not over here. It's here. It's actually more center mass. That's number one. Number two, you can look up the ingredients and you go, wow, black cumin seed's amazing. Curcumin's amazing. Apple cider vinegar is amazing. D-ribose, amazing. Raspberry ketones, amazing. Aloe vera, amazing. What you have to be able to understand, and most people don't, is alchemy. She is as pure of an alchemist as you're going to find. Because when you look at things independently, you can see, oh, well, this does this, this does this, this does this. But you know what there isn't? There isn't anything out there that actually shows if you combine this with this and this and this and this and that in the right ways with the right quality and the right amounts, it's not 1 + 1 + 1 = 3 or 2 + 2 + 2 = 6. It's 2 cubed. So the best way to talk about it, Viola, is what you just said. It's like, and it goes with zero in as well, right? Because I mean, Sanj can talk about this. Sanj did a phenomenal test because he took 4 capsules before doing a really deep meditation. And you think, looking at the formula of zero in, you go, you just took 400 milligrams of caffeine right before you want to meditate. Why would you ever do that? That doesn't make sense. But when you understand the biochemical pathways of why the anhydrous caffeine is used and what it does for dopamine, what it does as a synergist, and what it does to buffer dopamine so you don't spike, you get to a perfect peak and it's maintained. And then you have people with zero in saying the same way. They're like, dude, why is this better than microdosing shrooms? Or why is this better than club drugs? But it's all natural. And you don't get jitters, you don't crash, you don't come down, and you feel amazing and you sleep better. Here's the secret. Do you know what people want right now? They want to feel that way, but they don't want all the negative stuff. So like Michaela said, it's liquid sunshine. It's like, well, what is this? It's like sunshine in a sachet. Everyone knows we need more vitamin D. Here's your sign. I mean, watch Kathy, Joe, and Nicole and Pete on my Facebook Live when we did it, and watch their responses. Yeah, it's funny watching Kathy Joe because she's never put any substances in her body, and she's like, I feel so uplifted. And Nicole's going, you're high. It's like, it's a difference in perspective. And what was really intriguing to me, because I've never used any chemicals, right? I was an athlete my entire life, all through college. My physical performance was extremely important to me. I didn't ever want to tweak things artificially or use chemicals that would inhibit my long-term performance. And I come from a family that has serious addiction issues. My mom grew up in an alcoholic Catholic household. My dad grew up in an alcoholic Protestant household. And so you understand your personality type, hopefully, and you go, okay, I'm not going to do that because the risk of me wanting more of a substance that is claimed to do that is not ideal for me. But what I found over time is that based on what I've done over the last 16 or so years with all of my detox work and such, what I've discovered from talking with friends that have used a bunch of those substances, people are just trying to feel like I do every morning. They're trying to feel normal because we're so polluted, we're so toxic. People don't know what normal is actually really freaking good because we're light. Everyone's got the drapes drawn going, why is it freaking dark in here? So however you want to share it, it's like, Viola, what you're saying is like, oh my God, this is like going to the club on a Monday. And there's no negatives. Do you know what happens? And I had somebody do this downtown on Broadway almost 2 years ago when we were testing zero in out. He sold 40 capsules in one night for $4 each. Hold on, do the math on that. Because he gave one capsule to a friend who was a little bit inebriated, actually a lot inebriated. And in 15 minutes, she was alert. And then all of her friends were like, whatever you gave her, I want it. And then it was $4, $4, $4. But he took one, came back, and like, I want her to come with me because I've never felt that good. It's what people want. They spend, well, here in the United States, people spend between $5 and $10 on a freaking latte that doesn't make you feel this good. So you have to be and it goes back to, it sits above me constantly. It's just the authenticity, right? If you love something and you have an amazing experience, what's wrong with sharing it? Because if you watched a show on Netflix, they're like, oh my God, I watched a show on Netflix and it was like I was at a club and it made me feel so good. And you would tell your friends and your friends would go, what's the show? Where do I go to stream it?
Yeah, that's really helpful.
And then
the analogy.
It's just be you, right?
In the analogy of alchemy, that's I think that's the piece I was looking for. Just because with the ingredients themselves are awesome, but don't add up to what I'm experiencing. And so that alchemy is the key piece. Yeah.
I'm gonna grab something here. You can't see me. I'll give you guys a secret. I actually don't read a lot of books. I can look at them and I just download the information. Don't judge me. But it just is there. But synergy. Some things you can't explain. Some things you just must experience. It's the best way to put it. It's like, I can't explain it to you, but if you try it, you'll know. And my family, my mom's side of the family, we still have it. We have the only family-owned lumber yard in all of Seattle, back in the state of Washington. It's over 90 years old now. And COVID's been very, very, very good to my family, apparently, because lumber prices have shot through the roof. But the one thing my grandfather always used to say is they would pride themselves on having the things that, contractors and builders would need, those little things that you can't get anywhere else. And people will come in and go, hey, do you have this? They go, yeah, we have it. It's over in the corner. They go, great. How much is it? Does it matter? Because you can't get it anywhere else. That's what we're doing for people. You look at the Trinity, right? And as we were setting the pricing for it, it's $200. And for all three, pretty good value for what it does, right? But when I had a couple colleagues in the office last week and they're comparing products, they're like, well, why do you have this? Why do you have that? Why is this more beneficial over that? So, well, look at the numbers. Those two products don't even do what this does, but they claim to, and they're going to cost you $160. And this is going to cost $69, and it's going to last more than a month in most instances. Well, how do you know that? Try it. But does the price really matter? Because that which you're going to receive in outcomes is greater than any amount of money you'd ever be willing to spend or capable of spending a lot of times. Because if you go back through, the Facebook groups that many of you are involved in, or the Facebook groups that you can share with people, or you use the YouTube channel with the experiences that, I don't know why Lori Yock's testimonial doesn't have 10 million views on it right now. Because if you're a woman and you haven't watched that video and you haven't shared it with every woman that you know that's ever been in a relationship, good or bad or indifferent, because every woman has at least 3 friends that have had an experience similar in some semblance to what Lori endured. My wife was married 3 times before me, and all 3 of them, none of them were positive. And honestly, if you're around me and you hit a woman and you break her jaw, or you kick her in the stomach when she's pregnant and push her down the stairs, we're going to have issues. The mental aspect of abuse, of what it does over time and how it destroys people, is something that most people don't ever comprehend. You guys, let me pull it up. I think it's like 15, 20 minutes is her testimonial that's on the YouTube channel. You want to open a conversation of healing with people? So honestly, guys, that's what this is about. Read the top. You are all of influence. But you know the beautiful part? You don't know how influential you are to each individual you talk to, because there's stuff that's gone on in their life that they've never told anyone. So how are you going to know to talk about it? Mika, are we right? I mean, you want to chat about that? Come on.
You are the first. My husband, he knows what happens with me, but not all the people know what has happened with me.
Exactly. We don't have to go into all of it because you wrote some of it out. But you had experiences in your childhood that were so traumatic that they kept you from functioning in a healthy manner your entire life up to the last year.
Yes. And I had so much in those years, not only the accidents, but also I was married and also a divorce, and I was abused with my first husband. I don't want to talk about this now because I have to heal more. Yep. But I had a very serious bad life, but I'm so happy with the root products because I'm dreaming, I'm healing, and I'm crying a lot, but it works, and that's what matters. And the real story is coming. The real story is coming. But you know a lot of me, Clayton, more than everybody.
And this is the point, because your friend who shared this with you had no comprehension of your background, your history. It was not an intent of talking to you about, oh, you know what? I know you went through hell as a kid. You saw things and experienced things that no one should ever experience. That's why I think this would be great for you. There's no freaking clue.
No.
Right? That's part of our nature. There's trauma that each one of us endures that has such a negative impact on our well-being, our decision-making, our heart, our minds, our soul, our spirit, our emotions. Trust me, I've been through it. I deal with it every week because of what we do. And you don't know what's really going on inside the skin suit, right? So, like Viola was going over, just explain to people what you're experiencing, how you feel. Because I'll give you guys a secret. People don't want to hear the bullshit anymore. We're past it, right? Oh, I found this great antioxidant. I heard people talk about this last week when I was meeting with some friends. They're like, oh, it's a great antioxidant and we make money selling it. And I looked at this dude, I'm like, you actually say that shit? Who talks about antioxidants anymore? That was like 1998. This is 2021, bro. We're well beyond that. I mean, you want the coolest thing to talk about? Just show them a video of my wife. Done. Look at her spirit. And there's a reason I can wear yellow now, because she got me to wear yellow. I would never wear this color before. But there is so much power to be impactful on the lives of others. And you never will know how much of an impact that is. Sometimes for over a year, maybe more, because of the time and the process it takes. You know, I get so much joy out of watching people post things on Facebook about their experiences. And I'll call one of you guys out right now because I was reading it this morning. You know, Harry made a comment about his, you know, understanding his divine masculinity. When you look at that beard, because it's growing in so well now, that you can see that he's quite in touch. See, the scary part is, though, is if Harry starts using Restore on his hands and they become so soft and supple, some of the things he talks about retaining might not be very good. But the benefits of being able and capable and comfortable because of the restoration of your body, your mind, your spirit, how everything comes back into line when you can start to get rid of stuff and then allow your being, right? We talk about the body. That's not what we're playing with here. It's well beyond physical, right? What we're talking about is metaphysical, because we are quantum, we are light. What we're doing is we're not only just, because the light's always on, right? In all of us, the light's always on. And you can elate this to a dimmer switch. And it does go off, right? Because you can turn the dimmer switch off. When it goes off, you get to move on from this suit. But most people, their light is dimmed down quite a bit. It might sometimes be right before it clicks and it goes off, right? And it's not a smooth transition. This is actually a really good analogy that I'm doing right now. I just thought of this. It's not a smooth transition to increase that switch, right? To move the dimmer switch up, because there's stuff in between it, because it hasn't been moved in a while. What we're doing is we're turning that thing all the way up. But we don't know how long it's going to take to do it. And you can do it in everyone, any age, any race, any sex that you were born with. I'm actually going to do a podcast on transgenderism and the problems with it, that it's actually just atrazine and mercury and other heavy metals and environmental toxins and some other stuff. It's actually facts. It's published already, but no one wants to talk about it. So I'll take the bullet, hopefully not literally, but we're going to have some fun talking about it. So the key component is serve, right? Just be of influence.